Kade sagcinana hawungise khona babukeli ngiyanibingelela kuzo zonke izindawo phela lapho nithamele khona uhlelo nilithanda kakhulu ilungelo lakho. It's your right. Siza kunibukhoma la kumahamba phambili SABC 1 imzansi for sure. Mina ke mbukeli ngingumajali uAlisha igama. Thank you once again for joining us. Ukhumbule phela ukuthi nawe sikuvaleli neze ngaphandle endabeni yethu yanamhlanje ukuze phela ubeke wakho umbono ungashayela ucingo la ku 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. Ungasithumela email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Alternatively usithole ku social media platforms. Sanibonani. Now, as we wrap up July, officially known as the Savings Month, the messages around the importance of saving as a nation cannot be overemphasized. Most importantly, when many consumers are in the throes of over-indebtedness. Now, financial experts believe that teaching children financial prudence is a surefire way of producing a future generation of financially savvy citizens. To this end, the Banking Association of South Africa hosted a financial literacy program called the Star Saver, with this in mind.
Speller number 11. Please spell the word capital.
Capital. C-A-P-I-T-A-L. Capital.
That is correct.
Izingane zezikole ezahlukahlukene eGauteng beziqhudelana kumncintiswano we-spelling bee lapho kade bevizelwa khona ngamagama zomnotho. Lo mncintiswano obizwa nge-Star Saver usungelelwe ukuthi ukwazi ukufundisa izingane ngokonga imali. Kanti lo mncintiswano obuse-Apartheid Museum eGoli ubusungathwe yi-The Banking Association of South Africa ngesiqubulo sokuthi lugotshwa lusemanzi. Ufikile Hluselo oyi-Senior General Manager e-Banking Association uthi ufundisa intsha ngezimali kungalisiza ikusasa lomzansi Afrika.
Silapha because this is another way of spreading the message on the importance of saving, because the problem right now, 67% of adult South Africans do not save. So as funny a problem. Adult South Africans also are highly indebted. So also the program is also to make kids understand the disadvantages of, accumulating debt.
Uglentwala owunelo mncintiswane eMpumalanga uthi uzuze okuningi.
Lo competition lena ingisite ngalokuningi kakhulu from nyalo, many words magama lamaningi financial literacy sengiyati nema meanings awo, and nyalo encourage nami ukuthi ngisave for the future.
Kanti usazi lukhulu.
Need, for example, food angeke sikhona ukuphila ngaphandle kokudla. Food and water mandi nawo angeke sikhona ukuphila ngaphandle kwawo. Sebese wants cars, dimoto, expensive jeans. Leto tindo lesingadidzingi. You can get yourself a pair of jeans from any shop, but labanye abantu baprefera ukuthi babe nala expensive.
Kanti ngosizo lomnyango wezemfundo eyisisekelo abafundi abasendaweni eziningi bazokwazi ukuthi babe yingcenye yalomncintiswano.
Kwi-department sibuka ukuthi umntwana uma ngabe ekhula uzobelonga kwi-community, uzoba umntwana ofanele akwazi ukufitha kahle kwi-community. So ukufunda ngezinto zezimali iyona backbone yomntwana nempilo yakhe, because mangabe befunda sifuna ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bazi ukuthi izimali baziphatha kanjani, bakwazi ukuthi baya invest, khona into ethiwa investment, khona into ethiwa ukusave. I-spelling bee as a concept can accommodate nanoma yiphi inhlobo ye-literacy enifuna ukuyifaka, whether nifuna bafundisa nge-finance, nifundisa nge-environment, nifundisa ngani, but as a concept ye-spelling bee ikhona throughout the whole country. So iy'kole zasemakhaya ziyasenza spelling bee, so i-concept bazokwazi ukuyazi.
Ubunhlenyane Shabalala ophume esibili uthi bekungathi ushaya ezinyoni ezimbili ngetshe elilodwa.
Le spelling bee bekungathi is at the same time spelling bee sikufundise ukukhuluma amagama at the same time sikhuluma ngemali yabo ngama finance and stuff. Ngifundile ukuthi like kumele like izinto eziningi zokusave. So kumele mangifika vele ngibe sengiqala ukusave ngoba bengakwazi nokusave.
Kanti lentsha ingafundisa abantu abadala bakuleli okuningi ngokonga imali.
Ngiyakwazi ukusave. Ngiyayithatha imali ngisave then I use it kulento engifuna.
Ngiyakwazi ukusave ngiqeda ukufunda manje ukuthi ngithathe umntwana kumele ukuthi ngiqale ukusave ukuze kusasa lami lize libe kahle yabo.
Kubalulekile ukusave ngobe wonke imali ukuthi usite etikweleteni letiningi.
Njengoba wake washo uNelson Mandela ukuthi sekuyisikhathi sentsha sokuthi lihole isizwe njengoba nabo benza konke kusemandleni ngesikhathi sabo. Sekuyisikhathi ke sokuthi sihole intsha ukuze babe abaholi abaqotho kusasa. Unompumelelo Mthethwa, Yilungelo Lakho, eGoli.
Siyabonga kakhulu ngalo mbiko esiwudidiyele ngoNompumelelo Mthethwa. Now to further discuss the importance of creating and nurturing a culture of saving, let's extend a very warm welcome to our studio guest today, Masamgele Giselle Gold from Fairheads Benefit Services. Nalabo phela abaphethe inhlangano yokuphatha kahle kwemali luluntu jikelele. Sinaye nobhuti Andile Mazwai yena oyinhloko ye-National Stockvel Association of South Africa. We also have Usisumvele Nhleyaka yena ke uvele kwi-Banking Association of South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. Sanamukele kuhlelo.
Thank you. Hello, thank you for having us.
All right, let's start by understanding, before we comment on the insert. Giselle, tell us a bit about your organization.
I represent an organization that administers beneficiary funds. And I know beneficiary funds is a foreign word to most of South Africans. You know, and it's a simple vehicle by which if your breadwinner dies and he's worked for a particular, he or she has worked for a particular organization, normally people have pension funds or they have group life benefits. And all those benefits as an employee then gets distributed amongst the dependents of that deceased member.
All right.
And then in the cases of children, specifically beneficiary funds are established for us to invest those children's monies to help their guardians or surviving parents or caregivers, to educate them, to take them through school, to pay their school fees every year with the proceeds from the member, and also to make sure there's a monthly stipend to take care of these children. And then, unfortunately, we had the change of the age of majority from 21 to 18, which meant that when a child becomes a major, we have to pay the balance of those monies to the child. And the problem is...
When does a child become a major, though, Giselle?
At the age of 18.
Oh, 18.
Yeah, in terms of the Children's Act, that was changed in 2007. So at least when it was 21, children were either at tertiary or have completed school or something like that, which meant that there was a bit more financial maturity.
Absolutely.
You know, with the change to age 18, we have a predicament that half of 18-year-olds are in matric. The other half are in lower grades or out of school. And therefore, often these children then end up with a lump sum of 100,000 to 500,000.
And they go shopping.
And they go on a spree. Drop out of school, don't get any education, become financially not functional in society, in the economy, and it just creates more problems.
Giselle, we'll get more deeper into the culture of saving, if it is there at all in South Africa. Andile, tell us a bit about Nina Stockvel Zen.
I'm a Stockvel. I'm a Stockvel. You don't need to explain Stockvel. We take Stockvel seriously for a very simple reason. Saving is hard. Saving is usually not fun.
Ungasichazela ngesintu but Andile.
Ngesintu hayi ke. Yabona ke mawungeni Stockvel. Mawudlala Stockvel. You can come together nabantu bakho and say, mina I want to save for noba intoni na. And then abantu bakho are going to help you to get to that goal. Ngoba if ndihlelele ndedwa mina and I'm going to say save 1,000. Ngeke ndifike apho. I'm sure by July at least in a Stockvel, if let's say by 5 or 6 or 7, we can support each other and make sure that wonke umuntu who's promised to put in that 1,000 and into
abayithandayo abantu but Andile is the fact that Stockvel, you know, there's no documentation as such ukuthi uzo-approve before ungena lapha. So basically ungathatha isamba semali onayo ufike uyifake at that time.
That's the most important thing. Ngoba if it's too much regulation, basically benzima ke. Thina as in National Stockvel Association, we've got some guidelines to say, hey, be careful of things like that. Mama pyramid scheme, don't. City, stay away from those things. Stockvel is Stockvel. Sonke siyayazi is Stockvel. You don't need to explain to you what it is. So when you've got a good one, then there are just some good practices that you should have that's going to help you get to your saving goals.
We just saw an insert, basically, initiative. Why the need for such a great initiative, I must add, though?
E-Banking Association is an organization that looks after the banks, 34 of them that operate in South Africa, both local and international banks. But what we have found in the country is that South Africa is one of the highly indebted countries in the world. Ngenxa yokuthi abantu abanawo umgogodla wokonga imali. Sikhula nje imali ingena iphuma. Asiqeqeshekile ngokuthi kusasa kuzokwenzakalani. And what we find is that ngoba thina si channel la kuphuma khona ngena khona imali where all the banks trade. We found that it's important that we inculcate a culture of saving. Now, you have a percentage of adults that's already gone into indebtedness. And then you have at least 60% of the country being youth. 30% of that being less than age 15. So the calculation to balance what we wanted to do was to say, ligojwa limanzi isiZulu sisho kanjani. So isiqubulo sethu salomkhankaso ukuthi asigobeni abantwana bethu besemanzi sikwazi ukubafundisa ngezinto thina esingakhonanga ukuzenza kodwa abasengayibona indlela. So unyaka nonyaka sekuyiminyaka eyisikhombisa manje siwenza lo mkhankaso amabhange ayavolontiya ukuya ezikoleni nsuku zonke afundisa abantwana.
Mvelo awubambe nje kanjalo ngoba kumele phela sithi uphuthuma ngaseyitolo siyabuya khona manje mbukeli ungayindawo. Welcome back, Mbukeli. We're still on the topic of saving. Ukubamba iqhaza endabeni yethu Mbukeli sishayele ucingo lakho 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. You can also email us your views to consumer@sabc.co.za or visit our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter. Sis Mvelo, you were still explaining to us about this great initiative. Awuqhubeke sis.
Bengisachaza ukuthi ngoba isiZulu sisho ukuthi ligojwa limanzi kubalekile ukuthi abantwana bafundise. Kodwa esesikubonile emva kweminyaka esikhombisa singamabhangi sihamba sifundisa abantwana ezikoleni ukuthi ukuqala kwabo ukonga akugcini nje lapho, it escalates to other areas of their lives. So it's a behavioral change as well, and it commands them to look at all the other areas. And as a result, we have now developed what we call financial literacy spelling bee, because we want the learners to be able to conceptualize financial matters. Ngoba phela njengoba sisizulu uqala into ngokuyibona uyizwe bese uyayisha and then uyayenza. So that's exactly what we're saying. And also we want them to have fun about it, because as ubudwamu ubechaza lana, it's not nice to save. It's like someone literally has to say do something, but we're saying to them, pay yourself first. You've been going to school for how many days in a month? So you know, reward yourself. And they find it so much fun. And that's what we're trying to inculcate to them, to say, enjoy it, it's part of life, but also let it be a discipline and a culture.
Absolutely. Giselle, speaking of behavioral change, take us through our current savings culture in South Africa.
Yes, I wish I could be more positive about that. But what we experience, for instance, in the event of a death of a member, as I explained earlier, we often find that the board of trustees for that organization will pay, for instance, lump sum amounts to the majors and the spouses and the adults that are dependents, and then facing the decision that needs to be made in the interest of children. And for instance, often because of our lack of savings culture, the mother or the person that will be looking after the child would sometimes find it unfair that the money is being paid to us to look after these children and say, I can look after my children myself, why are you getting the money? You know, and the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, organizations have experienced it so many times that people come back a few months later and say, was that everything you gave me? Isn't there something else left that you should have given to me? you know, and therefore sometimes these organizations are forced to make decisions in the interest and the well-being of these children, and therefore then say this money needs to be invested where it is locked in so that it can be spent in a way that it can take care of this child, can raise this child to become an adult. And then once we have now gotten to a stage where the guardian or the caregiver has accepted that this money needs to be protected, you do all of that, get to age 18, and then you have to follow the same process with the child and say, now that you're 16, let's start inviting you to guardian roadshows in your area so that you can come there and we can start talking to you about the fact that you need to start thinking about a career, you need to start thinking about your future, you need to start thinking about your family that may be dependent on you and how you can support them because you actually have a resource. You know, and then getting those children to start thinking about that. Like, for instance, what the Banking Association is doing. You know, and a lot more needs to be done at a younger age for children so that they realize when they get to that stage, they've got to be responsible and take those resources forward to multiply it in ways of education, in ways of skills, and in ways where you can sustain yourselves, the economy, and change the culture.
Absolutely. Because currently, just to add on culture, what we find is that as South Africans, we have a culture of instant gratification. We want everything now. I want the money now. If you have some savings for me, I want all of them now.
Yes.
Now, that culture is a total killer of society. Because everything that we want to consume it all now.
Yes.
There is no thinking about the future. What happens if? And we need to start inculcating that culture. Now, if most of our population is youth, we need to get down, deep down to the roots.
You know, I found something very interesting. Research indicates that 75% of South Africans' income goes directly into debt. Andile, are you guys doing anything njenge organization for abantwana mhlawumbe ukuthi nabo mhlawumbe nibafundise ngeculture ukuthi noma ngabe ku20 rand u10 rand i-pocket money yakho it's towards something big?
You know, not so much for abantwana because most of the people badlala Stockvel, it's adults. Tina, we find an interesting thing that we're speaking to abantu who are saving.
Yeah, people
they're already saving.
But
it's the same people who are indebted in other places. Usually that saving is just for consumption. So take a grocery group. You'll have maybe 15, 20 ladies all saving. End of the year, lo mali yakiwa. Tina, what we're saying is, it's fine. You must buy groceries. You can't say to abantu, they cannot buy groceries. But we are saying you've done the hard part of saving. Keep that saving. So if you've collected 100,000, don't spend all 100,000. You must decide as a group that there's going to be a portion. To say this one is for next year, or this one,
December, for example.
Exactly.
Okay, I
or
see.
education or back to school. Already abantu have come together and they've got discipline to say, we're going to put imali aside for something.
Absolutely.
So we started a good place, Tina, Stockvelin.
All right. Let me just remind our viewers ukuthi mbukeli phela shesha ubamba ucingo usifonele siyazi ukuthi ave nithanda ukuthatha leyo mali niyothenga izinto engamele ngempela ukuthi niyithenge noma inyanga isitshekile. Giselle, please go ahead and add something to that.
Alicia, I wanted to ask Andile, I've also heard there are educational Stockvels.
Yes.
Is that true? And how does that work?
How does that work?
Because
That's
that
also
interests
new
me
to me.
because
Please tell us
if
about
we
that.
focus on education, you know, sometimes we need to collaborate.
Absolutely.
Most Stockvels, not most, many Stockvels are old. Okay. There was a time when, as umntomnyama, it was difficult to access financial services.
Policies.
Even today, there are still those barriers. I've got umntwanam, I want them to have an education. I don't know, do I go to a bank? Do I go to insurance? Do I go? Those things can be difficult just for me to know.
Absolutely.
What's easier is to say, with abantu that I work with, abantu that I go to church with, to say, we all have a similar situation. When, what are you doing? When, what are you doing? Let's come together.
It.
And it's about a dream. I have a dream to educate my child. I have a dream to buy a house. I have a dream to do this. Once we come together and say, Tina, we share that dream. Now we're going to put imali zethu behind that dream, and then we're going to realize it.
Velo, you know, something interesting also that I saw in research with this great project is the fact that this is now going to be in the syllabus of the school. So kids even in the rural areas are going to benefit from this. Tell us a bit more about that.
When we started the program 8 years ago now, we worked closely with Department of Education, and they then took the initiative and it became part of the school's curriculum. Awesome. Under the EMS, Economic Management Sciences. And the reason for that is really, where else can you reach children at a mass other than at school? And also because the department itself is hungry for causes that change just the natural behavior of a child, more and above what they get educated on. So the subject is the program is part of the subject area. And when our volunteers go into the schools, they go in during the period of EMS. So they would teach, and it becomes part of a complementary or subject enhancement program. What is nice about this as well is that the teachers can consult with us. So when we develop material, or when the department is developing material for EMS, they consult with us so that we can shape the outcome of what the learners have to study. And what we found is that even the teachers have requested that we develop a manual for them. Because can you imagine that they are the people that are teaching the children, but they themselves are not practicing the culture.
Yeah, it's like the new tablets in the classes.
Exactly. So it's like, well, what do I tell them? Because I'm highly indebted. And so we've also had to work with the Department of National Department of Debt Mediation to assist the teachers in shaping their own lives so that they can better shape the lives of the children.
Absolutely. Give some advice about something that you know yourself how to do.
Yeah, I think also, for instance, in the financial services sector, you know, other than the banking, you have all the other financial services under the Financial Services Board. And the Financial Services Board also has a consumer education division. Okay, and then all the different organizations that the FSB regulate then have to submit stuff through the consumer education to get it out to the public through schools and that kind of thing. You know, but I sometimes think, like Andile says, there are so many things that people need to consider, so many products, so many complexities with investments, you know, and sometimes you need to keep it simple for people to make sense of it.
Absolutely,
okay? And therefore, for instance, when you look at, like I mentioned, employee benefits, the fact of the matter is, if you're going to explain to a migrant worker's family, you know, that these are the monies that you are entitled to, this is from the proceeds of your deceased family member, you know, and this is to take care of you and your family for as long as you can. You know, then you need to break things down and keep it simple. Therefore then, for instance, the FSB has then found it appropriate to establish what they call, I mentioned, the beneficiary funds, so that there's a simple product for children's investments that they can actually understand.
Giselle, you must tell us more about this before we leave the show, because I'm sure people are like, what is this? When can I sign up? You know, my child needs this. It's definitely something to look into. Let's now take another quick commercial break. Please, remember, you can also take part in today's show by calling us on our studio line 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. Our email address is consume@sabc.co.za. or touch base with us on Facebook and on Twitter, which is exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to take a look at our Facebook messages and send one. Colin Kezani Ngobeni uti, but only staff that are compulsory draw a budget before going to, or he says, buy only stuff that is compulsory and draw a budget before going to buy, and try to avoid loans and credit cards. Can people ever try to avoid those things? So Nabile Vincent Tai says, I had a wrong mentality of saying savings is for whites only, as blacks are believed to be the vulnerable people of earning peanuts or change, but in the later stage, as I collected many theories about how to save. I'm very strict about the small money that I have. I'm still even on track with my New Year's resolution of saving a huge amount that will be spent during the festive rather than depending on certain money at Johannesburg. So Nobile, I wish all our viewers were just like you. Unelza Nelly says, saving is a first priority in my life as a young person, not only for December, but my future and to further my studies, even if I save 100 Rand a month, but that could make a difference in my life. Thank you so much to Nelza Nelly. Let's now take Uxolile from Emmarisburg. Xolile, a very good afternoon, Sawamgela.
Yebo ngifisa njani?
Siyaphila bhuti wami, wena unjani? Qhubeka ngombuzo noma umbono.
Sorry.
Qhubeka bhuti wami nombuzo noma umbono.
Ya nginombuzo sisukutheni?
Sibuze bhuti.
Nginombuzo sisokutheni mhlawumbe imali ngakwazi kanjani ukuthi ngiyonge ngivele ngingasebenzi and futhi ngingenayo.
All right, very nice and simple. It's a very simple question. Emaphoxolile ikhona mhlawumbe imizamo yenzayo ukuthi uthole le mali. Ngabe uyini wena umfundi kwenzakalani why ungenzi lutho? All right, we seem to have lost Xolile, but I really wanted to know because he's asking how can he then save money that he does not have because he does not have a job? Who can answer that?
You know, because our program focuses, we have a bias on getting through to the rural areas, and we get the same question from the learners to say, kodwa mina anginayo nje imali okungafanele ngiyisave ngenze njani ngizoyithatha. Sibafundisa ukuthi ukonga akusiyona ukonga nje imali kuphela
oyiholayo. I think that's the thing. Yes, bacabanga ukuthi uhola ila ungasave khona.
Noma ngabe yini oyitholayo uyayonga. Ake ngithe ekhaya nisebenzisa amanzi aphuma empompini. Ukwavulela nje noma kanjani amanzi kusho ukuthi nikhokha kakhulu. So sifuna ukuthi ukonga kube ikhona okusemqondweni womuntu, hayi ukonga nje kwemali. Bese kuthi emalini oyitholayo noma ngabe umuntu kupha u10 Rand, the rule of thumb is save at least 10% of anything you get. So if you save 10% of 10 Rand, ophiwe nje ukuthi uthenge ngawe isinkwa, cabanga ukuthi makuphela unyaka kuzoba kuyimalini. Hayi ukuthi ngoba wena nje khona imali oyithola kwi-salary every month. So it's a behavioral change. Like I said, it's a habit that you have to get into, and it goes across life. So mawukwazi ukuthi ngabe ngingasebenzisa amaphepha amabili kwamathathu yenza kanjalo, it's a behavior, it's a mindset.
Because uyayazi the situation yakho as umuntu. Exactly, yes. Exactly. And this brings me to my next point. Let's really talk about some of the alternative ways that, you know, our people can engage on in terms of saving. Giselle, let's start with you. What do you think is some of the easiest and most accessible?
Yeah, I think, you know, often when people work and they have whatever employment, you know, and we've often found in research that one of the single biggest savings that people have would be a pension fund. And it is because it's often compulsory in your employment that you have to be a member, which is not what people always want. But at the end of the day, when you retire, you don't regret the fact that you've done that. You know, so I think, you know, sometimes to force people is probably also a way of getting them to save. You know, and I mean, we cannot expect that government will be able to have enough money when you retire to take care of the entire nation. You know, it is just not financially viable. So I think that's a good thing that people accept, and people need to understand you don't have to be limited to the 5% that you are adding into your retirement fund. You have the right to put in more money. You know, you can teach yourself, I can get by with less and maybe, for instance, increase that to 7.5 or to 10%. And then furthermore, you need to understand what is going to happen to all these savings if something happens to me. You know, what are going to happen to my children? How are they going to be taken care of? Exactly. And that is your responsibility financially, and it ties in with your savings. Because whether you need to make provision for your child's education or make sure there's provision for your child's education when you're no longer there. All these things we've got to think of all the time.
Absolutely, not just to save money.
Exactly. And people sometimes need to understand and just ask questions like, what is going to happen to my money if something happens to me? How are my children going to be taken care of or not? What opportunities do I have? What choices do I have? You know, who are the trustees?
So don't just sign on the dotted line because somebody says they're giving you a policy and you're going to pay 40 Rand a month and that's it.
And for instance, people need to understand government actually incentivizes you to save in a retirement fund.
Yes.
You get tax deductions. It's tax deductible. It's often tax-free, so that you can save more. So that government also understands that they're not going to have all these dependents when something happens to you.
Yes.
And people need to understand those things, the purpose of those savings, you know.
Andile, I want you to expand on that and also focus on a point that came across from one of our viewers here saying that, you know, he used to think it's a white mentality to save, but, you know, he's gradually moved away from that. So congrats to him. But what can you tell others like him?
That's true. Yes, in that thing, when I saw that comment, imagine if saving into Yilungu, imagine the JSE. Tina, at NASAS, we are taking JSE to Abantu. There's this idea that, JSE.
Is it as serious?
It's serious.
You know?
It's complicated. I fully Tina, but
yeah.
In truth, what we're saying is that people need to be exposed.
True.
We've got a publication. It's free of charge to our members, and membership now is free of charge.
Okay.
One of our sponsors is JSE, because they want people to come to the JSE. An initiative over the last few years has been AMA BE deals.
Yes.
Many companies have gone out with BE schemes. And again, kunzima, as your own, to say, ishe yintoni, must I buy it or not? But often when you're in a group, at first you feel more comfortable.
Because there's others that actually might know better and they educate
each other.
Yeah.
So we've got a program where we can organize for groups. We fill the hall in the JSE. Again, it's free of charge.
All right.
To say, come to the JSE, it's usually the first Tuesday or Thursday of each month.
Anybody, any ordinary South African.
Tina, what we like, I must Stockvel.
Okay.
When you hear a message on your own, hey, you're going to miss some things. But if you go as a group, and you're 5 or 6 or 7,
somebody's bound to pick up something.
So we're able to then educate people, inform people, mobilize abantu. And often with these BE deals, they even allow groups, they incentivize groups to say, if you're a Stockvel, if you're a group, come together, you can now buy these shares.
Andile, that sounds great, but I just want to take a quick call and then you can further elaborate on that. Makubela eferyenegeng sakwamukela bhutohlelweni umbuzo nomumbono. Sakwamukela sisi, please go ahead with your question or comment.
Ngicela ukubuza ubhuti Andile lapho ukuthi umthetho uthini kuma-burial society noma ama-saving club ngoba umthetho wethu e-burial society yethu uthi if you haven't saved enough ukuthi ungangcwaba umuntu wakho, we borrow you the money you pay us back.
Okay.
So in case of a member in Shona, they are coming after survivors who can we have a guy at society who is paying a debt towards her mother's burial. Is that right?
I'll put Andile before starting care. Awubambe kanjalo sisimakhubelo ocingweni.
Inzima ke leyo. All Stockvel, Braille Society, any kind of group has got its own rules.
Okay.
Has got its own rules. It's got a constitution. Again, in our magazine, it's free of charge. We've got a constitution la. So when you join a Braille Society, you must ask the question, e-constitution, e-team.
Okay.
In the case of death, then you can know about like this. But we find that abantu get abused. They get in, and then afterwards they're told, no. E-society and that can be a problem. So again, we're saying have a constitution, and that thing can be clear.
All right. There's just another quick. Yeah, what's this, Makubel?
I think our constitution.
Okay, so anayo i-constitution awuchazela ubhuti ukuthi mhlambe sisiwajoyina kanjani Andile.
Ngijoyine ngo-2003. When I joined, they gave me a list of laws. Ibhalwe umulawo wa-society, ibhalwe umthetho we-society. But as we go along, everybody does as they please, not keeping to the emthetho abanginikeze yona. But what gets to me the most is illegal. I think it must be illegal when I die, my husband has to stay and pay for my debt. And they refuse to insure our members to society because I did bring it up and they use mob justice.
So,
and when you ask it, why is there a constitution? Why is there a secretary? Why is there a chair lady? Why is there a treasurer? They say now I am.
Okay, manje sisusenawo lesi Stockvel usaba support usasebenzisana nabo.
Ngisasebenzisana nabo because I have money there.
Usenemali. Okay, yazini sisi ngicela ukuthi nje ubukele uhlelo ubhuti Andile sizobona ukuthi emva kwekhefu yini mhlambe isolution angakunika na mhlambe uzofuna imininingwane bese yabona ukuthi wenza njani. Yezwa sithanda sami.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. That was uMakhanyisa out in, of course, in Vereeniging. Ayike mbukelo kwamanje ithi siphinde futhi sijikelele ngaseyitolo. Please do stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this. Welcome back mbukeli. Namhlanje sixoxa ngenkulu phela indaba le sikhuluma ngokufundisa abantwana nabantu nje ukuthi phela bakwazi ukonga imali zabo. Ngihleli noJizawu noAndile kanye noMvelo. Phuthuma uma sawufuna usizo sithole ocingweni on email na kwi social media. But Andile as address indaba kasisi it sounds very concerning.
It's concerning because we don't know the detail, but ingati there's a problem of abuse. Someone is taking money and is not giving that benefit. Into that we have in our magazine, Tina, is to say, this story we've heard so many times. It's a simple case of fraud. The difficulty that abantu have is that they've got no paperwork. Uzema policen and then say what?
Affidavit when you need proof or support documents are supported.
Tina City, start with a constitution. If le Stockvel, this bear society and a constitution, ungaingeni. Start with a constitution. Treasurer uzobhala encwadini and sign to say they took le mali. So if ever you have a problem, treasurer takes the money. You've got the constitution, you've got that signed deposit. Uyema policeni and say, here is a case of fraud. It's easy. Lo mntu uyaziwa. You cannot join the Stockvel and say we don't know who this person is. Uyaziwa lo mntu. You know where they live. But the police cannot do anything if you've got no documents. So very basic things. They're available on our website. They're free of charge. It's in our magazine. It's free of charge. You then go through this and you can lay a criminal charge at the police station. And we find that once our treasurers know that, they don't do it in the first place.
All right. So, see, I hope ukuthi mhlambe ubhuti Andile ukusize something. Alternatively, imininingwane yakhe ikhona la ungambhalela i-email okanye umfonele directly. Ithi ngithathe uPhelisa from eLimpopo online. Sisiphelisa, siyakwamukela ohlelweni umbuzo noma umbono.
Hello, sisi kunjani?
Siyaphila sithanda sami, qhubeka ngombuzo noma umbono.
Nginombuzo mina futhi nowasepheheni.
Yebo sisi.
Obana kanti le mali lena njengabe sithi bayayisave umntwana xa egula abakwazi na umenzela into and xa winter abakwazi umthengela impahla zobusika na.
Okay, ufuna ukwazi sisi ukuthi kulo msebenzi abawenzayo Giselle bayakhona yini ukuthi ba providele umntana noma esegula noma mhlambe bamthengele impahla zesikole. Is that what you want to know?
Because naye umntana onfumanayo imali yasehleleti mara xa nine-problem abakwazi umnceda ngayo.
Oh, okay, I see. Giselle, she's basically asking in that trust fund or whatever for the child, can it provide for a child when it's sick or basically when they don't have clothing or just to basically take care of any other needs that she might have as a parent?
Yes. Yes, the purpose of the beneficiary fund is to take care of the well-being of that child. Okay, so that would include education, health, clothing. We even pay for initiation school. We put up tombstones for the deceased member from the child's money if there are no other resources. We send children on exchange student programs. You know, there's no end to what they can claim for. The main factor is the affordability of that account because everything has a limit. Okay, so if you have 60,000, you know, there's so much you can do. So we will tell you your budget for what you can spend this year, whether it's clothing, health. Education is normally our priority.
Absolutely.
We will check that your school fees is up to date before we pay anything else.
I see.
Okay.
So you also think for the parent as well.
Definitely. We've got to work with them to make sure it works for the child, you know, and then we will look at other things and look at how much do you have available. Because we also cannot leave you with 0 rands when you turn 18. And then you have absolutely nothing to start with. So we're thinking of that as well. You know, so if you need to be able to spend the money wisely, have some money left when you finish matric so that you can acquire skills. Because we all know you're not going to get very far with matric alone in terms of getting a job or starting a business. You need to develop your skills. So what you can ask for is unlimited, bearing in mind there's a limited amount you can spend, education being priority.
All right, so they mustn't think that whenever they need money,
No new
they'll
car
just go
like
to
that.
No using New Year's resolutions on that fund specifically. Let's bring you in, Velo. What do you want to add to this conversation? Do you see any progressive measures that could be taken by people in Makai?
I think so. I think just making saving a habit instead of
into sabegai.
Uqale nje kancane kancane and then uzobona ukuthi imali iyakhula ngoba phela ukonga kusho ukuthi akusho ukuthi wonga nje uyabekelela kwenzeke lutho. What we normally teach our learners is that as you save, there builds interest, which then builds into compound interest, and then suddenly you have so much money. And njengoba nje ubhuti wami kade ebhalile thina wayicabanga ukuthi into yabamhlophe phela nathi singayiphila lempilo ukubekelela nje kancane kancane.
Andile, you know, I wanted to ask this, but then we had calls. I had to ask this question. Somebody wanted to know, they want to join a Stockvel, but how do they know how legit it is? How do they, you know, prove how legitimate it is, basically?
They must be careful. What we find, Tina...
You must know the treasurer's house.
Well, you must know. Tina, what we are finding is, if you have to ask that question, you know the answer. It means that you can't trust it. And the biggest problem in our industry are my pyramid scheme. They're not Stockvels.
Difference when I put Andile, because I think abantu by mistake a pyramid scheme versus a Stockvel.
Is Stockvel, Sona? It's abantu that you know who put their money together. That's
pyramid
it.
Scheme.
Pyramid scheme, Yona. You are saying, when Amazwa uzofagi 100, uzokopi 1,000. Just bring 10 people with you.
Oh.
Yes. Just bring those ones with you.
Yeah.
But when they put in that 100,
you'll go on a holiday.
When you're going to take out 1,000. Now, that's not a Stockvel. That's not a Stockvel. Wonkumtu must keep finding 10 people to come in, to come in, to come in. The problem we find is that abantu in a pyramid scheme do make money. The ones who join first, they make money.
That's because they bring in
They bring in, and then when they testify to say, hey, lend your sebenza. I put in 100, I got it 1,000. What's the problem? Kanti, the ones who lose are the ones who come at the end. But abantu bathi ba clever bon. But it's okay, I won't be the last. Mean and clever, I won't lose my money. So you find that our pyramid schemes are actually perpetuated by abantu. It's not just one problem. It's one person who creates a problem. Ngabantu who themselves are pushing on my pyramids.
Andile, ithi ngithatha unkosi nathi eMpumalanga very quickly bhuti wami before siye stall. Sawubona.
Sanibona sisi.
Kunjani bhuti wami? Qhubeka
ngombuzo nombuzo. Ukhuluma noNkosi nathi njalo njalo.
Siyaphila bhuti wami.
Ngisacela ukubuza ngike ngavula i-account kwi-Standard Bank online share trading ngifuna ukusave. Right, then but then uma ngiya kubovunani nabo SAs laba ama SA laba ama stock ama brokers bona they need a lump sum, while mina I want to save something like 3,000 rand a month, but on a Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Now I want Iloku's an organization that I can link myself to it. I wonder if I can get help there.
Okay ke bhuti wami umzule bhuti Andile.
No, ndivile yona.
Okay ke bhuti wami ulalela umabona kude wakho, because emva kwaleli ikhefu siyabuya khona manje naleyo mpendulo kanye nokuningi khona la. Yilungelo lakho. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Sesizohamba mbukeli isheshisa usithinte usizakale before sihamba. Bhuti Andile address nje ubhuti very quickly.
Every organization has got its own products. EJSE kwayona has decided to open up a tax-free savings account where abantu can come in with a lump sum or even a small number. I think it's 200 or maybe 500 a month.
Wow.
That you can then put in either as an individual or you can come in as a group and you can do that. So just go directly to jse.co.za and the details will be there.
Okay, bayithola phi lemniningwane mayelana nalelo bhuku
inasasa yona nasasa.co.za.
All right,
you become a member, free membership, free registration, free magazine.
All right, Chiza, where can people get hold of you? They've been calling all afternoon to find out what is this great initiative about.
Yes, you can get hold of me on our website, www.feds.com.
All right.
That's the easiest way. Also, the main thing is you must ask questions from your employer, you need to understand what your rights are and what your benefits are.
Giselle, is your organization able to tailor basically the benefits that you'd give to a member, for example? Let's say a person can only afford 50 Rand a month, so you'll tailor their needs and wants in that whole, I don't know, call it a system of some sort.
Yeah, just unfortunately, we wish we could take in people and help them to save. Yeah. But with us, all the proceeds we get comes from your employment benefits.
Oh, I see.
So in the event of your death and you need, I'm sure you've heard of a nomination form.
Yes, yes.
You need to indicate in there what it is that you want to do.
And whatnot.
Yes, and that you want to use a beneficiary fund to educate your children.
I see. All right. So ask more questions. Mvelo, before Samba, I see this great initiative once again. Bakuthola apha abantu logo.
Thina sinolayini wethu we-internet www.starsaver.co.za siku-Facebook futhi siku-Twitter ungasithola lapho. Into engiyifisayo nje ukuthi abazali kubo yibona abagqugquzela abantwana nanokuthi sonke masikhumbule ukuthi to save is like is part of the expenses every month. So you must treat it as such and pay yourself first. And that's the basic rule.
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi reward aqala umuntu ngeke afile ukuthi yazini imali yami sengikhiphile ivani yahamba nje. But let's talk about this, guys, before we go. Who is then negligent when it comes to these matters? Is it the lenders or is it the people themselves? Who is to blame for the culture that we currently have on savings? Let's start with you, Andile.
They blame each other. Tina, we say you get good credit and bad credit. Bad credit, if you are still paying for something that you've eaten, that's bad credit.
Hold it there, Andile, and I want to take Usboniso from the Eastern Cape. Usboniso, siyakwamukela uthi nje qaba sesiyahamba. Siyakwamukela bhuti.
Ngifuna bengeka ubuza ukuthi njengoba mina ngine-tuck shop lana ngenze njani mhlawumbe ngize ngikwazi ne-tuck shop phela ngenze umsebenzi we-construction.
Andikuva bhuti? Une-tuck shop ufuna sikusize ngantoni?
Umsebenzi we-construction akuya nawo umsebenzi kuthiwa uregistered angisebenzi emlungweni ngisebenza mina.
Okay, so ufuna ukuthatha imali yakho evela kwi-tuck shop uyikhulise bhuti?
Ngikhulise noku-investa mhlawumbe le ngisebenza kwi-construction.
All right. I think we have a very bad line. I couldn't make up exactly what he was saying, but Andy Luthu in a tuck shop, and I think it sounds like he wants to do something else or invest in another business with the money that he has. So he's trying to find a way of growing his money, basically.
Very difficult to give investment advice. We can't just give investment advice.
You have to see the plan.
The advice we can give is to say, get advice from an investment advisor. Investment advisors don't charge you. We've got a relationship, for example, NSASA, with Investment Solutions. That says if you have your own needs, but you don't know, must I use money market, JSE, this, that, e-advisor will talk to you on a call center, even visit your group at no charge. And then you can then decide how best to invest your money.
But I don't understand why people have not learned from Greece that even in the newest economy, you can still have debt. And it's all about behavioral change. You were saying this, Mvelo.
I think also abantu asifunde nje ukubuza. Ngoba izinto ezintsha zonke amabhange neTokfela nani amagama amasha lawa vele emphakathini. So masiye emabhange masiye kwiTokfela masiye sibuza ukuthi manginale mali nje ngihleli nayo ngoba tholakala ukuthi umnotho omningi uhleli ngaphansi kama-grants ayikhule imali kanjalo. Imali ikhula ngokuthi i-circulate in the economic system, and the money that we keep at home is not circulating. It's not growing the economy of the country, and it's not growing for you. So it gives you no benefit to save it when it's not growing. So we have this mentality, and we shift towards that.
All right. What can consumers do, Giselle, to try and change their ways? We know it's a lot of things to ask, but I mean, if it's for your own benefit.
Yes. I think it's good to know that other private sector organizations also has initiatives. And I think there needs to be more collaboration, especially when it comes to children.
Definitely.
And I think especially in our position, for instance, where you know you're going to give a child a lump sum of 200,000 or 300,000 when they are a mere 18, we need to make sure they spend doing it well.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely awesome this afternoon. Hagen Bugeli, that is how we come to the end of today's program. Let me thank my studio guests one more time for making the time to be with us. Githanda futhi ukubonga nani babukeli ngokuba nathi kuze kube manje. Please join us again next week Friday for another live consumer topic of the week. You are welcome to send in your topics to consumer@sabc.co.za. From me, Alish Ntombi Jali, and the entire team, zifundiseni ukusave abantu bakithi. Goodbye.
Yilungelo Lakho.